Thanks for testing that out, Jay. We couldn't show our videos earlier.
My gosh, I clicked the right button.
Sue, it's great to see you.
Well,
And-
thank you. Nice to see all of you too. It's been too long.
No one ever says that to me, Teresa.
I find that very untrue, John. Sue gets the special welcome today since it's been so long since we've had you visit us on MDAC. I hope you're doing well.
Doing better, day at a time, you know.
So everyone, I'm sorry that I was delayed, and Teresa, I hope you didn't hear any comments about the technology when we thought we were muted. So I apologize for that. But we just had a little technical difficulty getting started, so I should be ready to go here in a sec.
Yeah, all of that was on YouTube, Heidi, so good deal.
Nuh-uh. Okay, I think we're ready.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Heidi, as always, for getting us all together and figuring it all out. Really appreciate it. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Teresa Williams, and I facilitate the Mayor's Downtown Advisory Commission. Happy to see you all. Looks like Linda is still connecting to audio. If you were on earlier and were trying to share your video, it wasn't working, but now it is working. So if you'd like to opt into showing your video, that's great. Otherwise, that's a-okay if you would like to be hidden today. Let's go ahead and get started with introductions. During those introductions, if you could let us know your name, your agency, organization, business, whichever it is that you represent, that would be great. So let's start. I'm going to start at the top of the participant list. Heidi, we're going to start with you.
So I am Heidi Bakula, and I work for our wonderful mayor in the mayor's office, and I am helping run your meeting today.
Great. And Heidi, we are live today on YouTube, which I think is new for this group, correct?
Correct, we are.
Thank you. Let's go to Ginny.
Hi, Teresa. I'm here. I am the communications director of the city. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about Adrienne Beck's report on Operation Shelter last week to the electeds.
Thank you, Ginny. And let's go to Mayor Ingen.
I'm John Engen, Mayor of the City of Missoula.
Thank you, Mayor. And Elizabeth?
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Elizabeth Marshall, property manager with the Missoula Housing Authority, situated at Beautiful Palace Apartments in downtown Missoula, and manage 2 other properties near downtown.
Thank you. And let's go to Sue.
Hi, I'm Sue Wilkins. I operate Missoula Correctional Services, and we do a variety of community correction programs. It's nice to see everybody here.
Thank you, Sue. Let's go to Amy Allison and Jill.
Okay. Hi there, Amy Allison Thompson, outgoing executive director of the Poverello Center. And behind me is Jill Bonney, who is the incoming executive director of the Poverello Center.
Thank you. And let's go to Emily.
Hello, Emily Armstrong, she, her pronouns, and I am the Reaching Home Manager with the City of Missoula.
Thank you. And let's go to Ethan, Judge Lerman.
Hi, Ethan Lerman, Assistant Municipal Court Judge, City of Missoula.
And let's go to Officer Jay Gilhouse.
Jay Gilhouse. I'm one of the 2 downtown business improvement district police officers with Missoula Police Department.
Thank you. And how about Linda?
Good afternoon, Linda McCarthy with the Downtown Missoula Partnership. I hope you all are doing well today.
Thanks, Linda. And let's go with Ryan Boyd.
Hi, I'm Ryan Boyd. I am with the Salvation Army of Missoula.
Thank you. And how about the other Ryan, Officer Camara?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ryan Camara, Missoula City Police, and I'm the Crime Prevention / Intermittent Training Officer for the Missoula City PD.
Thanks, Ryan. And who is joining us from the phone? If you might introduce yourself, please.
Margaret Borg.
Wonderful.
Hey, Margaret.
Hey.
Margaret. Hey, Margaret.
Hi.
How's everything in the beautiful 9 Mile?
It is smoky. It's one of those days you're supposed to stay in, OG.
OG.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for the introductions. Heidi, do we have any public folks here today that you can see from your end?
Yes, it does appear we do. I know one is Margaret. She's coming in on the attendee line because she phoned in, and then we have one other person.
Okay, so we do have public comment available. Is there any public comment? Do I need to hit any fancy buttons to allow them if they would like to comment?
Actually, they would ask to be unmuted, I believe, if they would like to comment.
Okay, I'm new at this technology on this side of things. Mayor, do you think we can move along?
I think you're absolutely safe. You bet, Teresa.
Wonderful. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at the minutes from our January 5th. Oh, I'm sorry, not January 5th. That's even longer ago. The last minutes that we had, meeting minutes. Does anyone have any corrections for those minutes? Hopefully everyone has had a chance to review them. Seeing no corrections, may I please get a motion to approve?
So moved.
And how about a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Keithy, I just saw you jump on. Would you like to do a quick introduction?
Sure. Sorry, I've been having trouble with my Zoom all day. I don't know why it's kicking me off, so I apologize for being late. I'm Keithy Worthington. I'm the Chief Prosecutor for the City of Missoula, and I've been a member of this committee since it started.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Keithy, for sticking with us.
It's been a long haul.
It has.
Great. Okay, Ginny, Emily, I'm going to turn it over to you guys for an update.
All right. We thought that there would probably be general interest among all of us about the latest development in Operation Shelter. I'm assuming there's some knowledge that it's going on out there, but I will keep this very simple, and then we can discuss or have questions or not. So a little bit of and then Emily can talk about sort of the permutations of what the decisions will mean. So earlier this summer, actually late spring, we started having complaints to the mayor's office about people experiencing homelessness, camping in the urban area in places that were unsafe and unsanitary. And the mayor and the county commissioners realized that they needed to do something, and that doing something was better than continuing to do nothing, except of course, all the work long-term that we have going on in the background all the time. 10-year plan, the Poverello Center, the temporary safe outdoor space. I think sometimes the public doesn't see everything that we are doing to address homelessness in our community, but this required an emergent response. So the commissioners and the mayor asked the Office of Emergency Management to set up an incident command structure who were charged with identifying, this is right from their charge, their incident, identifying suitable locations that can accommodate unhoused people with a range of needs in temporary shelters, tents, or vehicles. The requirements were that the possibilities would have to meet basic human needs, including plans for sanitation, toilet facilities, water, and food as necessary, and access to services and transportation, and having the location be safe and secured around the clock every day. So kind of a big charge. Adrienne Beck and Ken Parks from the Office of Emergency Management put a team together. I am part of the Public Information Officer sub-team of that. Last Thursday in a public meeting by Zoom, Adrienne presented the locations that they had come up with that could meet those basic requirements. If you would like to see Adrienne's PowerPoint, we have it linked on the Engage Missoula page called Operation Shelter. It's quite good and detailed. So I'm not going to tell you everything. They looked at 21 sites, and those included private properties and parcels of land owned by the city and the county. Of course, they found, surprise, there is no single site that is suited to address the needs of the current or expected unsheltered population. So what Adrienne ended up suggesting was 3 different types of sites. One that can offer transitional housing for individuals who either have a housing voucher or are connected to housing navigation services but can't be placed, or people who have become homeless unexpectedly and need a short-term shelter. The second site would be a legal, minimally supported, safe campground. It requires the necessary services. The third would be a site that can support a service-rich environment comprised of small, all-season, hard-sided structures. And that site would require around-the-clock operational management, and individuals accepted into that site would be based on referral criteria. So the recommendations were for the transitional housing, use the city-owned facility at 1427 West Broadway, formerly the Sleepy Inn, for transitional housing. The second site, for a minimally supported safe option to illegal camping, would be a city-owned parcel at the end of Clark Fork Lane. So that is behind the wastewater treatment facility and Garden City Compost. The third site would be designing and constructing a hard-sided outdoor space with individual shelters, shared bathroom and shower facilities at city-owned land adjacent to the cemetery on North Russell on Cemetery Road. The incident command team recommended that a future site should be developed on the county-owned lot adjacent to the new Trinity site. Those recommendations, well, we did take some We took public comment at that meeting. We did not have a lot of public comment. We had some thoughtful engagement by people who are advocates for local government doing something for unsheltered people. Since then, we have had quite a bit of comment at the email address we directed people to. Some of it constructive and some of it not very nice, but kind of all over the map. The commissioners and the mayor are considering these suggestions, and both the city and the county will, once they have decided on a course, the commissioners and the mayor, that plan will be incorporated into the budgeting process for both the city and the county. The commissioners are going to discuss it, and they're aiming to decide on a plan this coming Thursday at their 10 a.m. meeting. And I'm not sure, Mayor Engen, if you will be, were you planning to Zoom in with them on that or make our own decision process and then consult with the county?
I think both, Jen. Yeah.
So that's where we're going with that. And I had asked Emily to talk a little bit about what this might mean for people and what these permutations would do on the ground. We can't talk very much about how would we do this because we don't know that yet. We have a notion, of course, but Emily, can you talk a little bit about what this might mean for people?
Yeah, thanks for that overview, Ginny. I feel like that was a really succinct breakdown. Yeah, very helpful. So I don't have a ton of additional information to add. I think Ginny summed it up quite nicely, but ultimately what we are really hoping this does is in this time where the need is so increased and we don't have the housing stock to meet that need, we hope that this will kind of create a larger continuum of options to meet the needs of our neighbors where they're at along their journey, with the eventual goal of, Villaggio and Trinity increasing our housing stock and eventually offering other places for folks to find more stable housing solutions. But in the interim, when we're kind of in this gap period, we really need to be responsive to the needs we're seeing in our community. And so these different options that Adrienne Beck and her team have dug into and identified really serve a variety of needs along the spectrum of need for people who are unhoused, from just a really basic safe camping space for folks who need a place to just safely camp in a legal zone, to really high service touch point for folks who need reliable stability and then will be able to think about the housing process, but can't quite get themselves there without some sort of safety and stable, a safe and stable environment. And then also that need for folks who have a voucher, have already started moving through the housing process, but again, the stock just isn't there. And so they need a place to kind of, again, be safe and stable while they wait for a resource to open up to meet their need. So as Ginny said, we can't say exactly what this will look like in practice once the decision is made, once electeds have directives beyond what Adrienne proposed. We are working very closely with the providers in Missoula. There's a stakeholders and cooperators group made up of many providers in the housing and houselessness space in Missoula who meet on a regular basis and are involved in these conversations and hearing both updates from the Incident Command Operation Shelter team and also sharing their own updates and discussing what resources they have and need and can contribute, kind of going both ways between the Operation Shelter team and providers themselves. So we're hoping that will be really collaborative and that we'll be able to set the whatever multiple sites, single site, whatever we end up with up for success from the beginning, to just, again, kind of meet that continuum of needs with the longer term goal of, we always advocate housing as the solution to homelessness. And so that's really what we're pointed towards. But the crisis is just $2,000 right now for our current housing stock. Yeah, so hopefully that provides a little bit more insight into that. But again, I don't have a ton of tangible information about next steps or anything like that at this point. Jeannie, did I touch on all the things? Are there things you want me to go more into detail on?
Folks have any questions?
So I might, with your permission, Teresa, fill in a couple of blanks to the degree that I can. One is I think that there is considerable political will here, which is important to sort of move things forward, and some challenging decisions to be made, but I think we can make them. And I think despite some of the trolling we receive, I think there's also considerable community support for us to do something. And I think that, or at least I hope that we've struck a balance here that we'll be able to employ resources in place today and further support those resources and maybe tip up some new ones. But I think this sort of feels like a natural expansion in an iterative step based on really our 10-year plan. So we may be a little bit behind in getting there, but I'll tell you again, apart from some of the grumpy feedback, what I've been hearing from, I think, reasonable folks who recognize that this is a tough deal, that we're erring on the side of compassion and doing this correctly rather than doing something knee-jerk and dumb just to make hay. So I actually have considerable faith that we can make some progress here and support all of our partners at the same time. And I think you'll see in our municipal budget a reflection of that. So.
Go ahead, Sue.
Well, I guess I do have a question. How many people do you feel that between these different sites that can be accommodated? I've got real concerns, and I'm sure I'm not the only one on this meeting right now. We're seeing more and more people struggling with making their rent because their rent is going up astronomically when their lease ends. And I think this problem has the potential of getting worse. So I'm just curious what can be accommodated, at between all these different sites. What is your anticipation of that?
I'm not sure that Adrian ended up with a particular number, but I think we're anticipating, I think we're sort of basing this on what providers are seeing and what we had seen at camps. But my hunch is all in, particularly if we add an opportunity for folks to park their cars or RVs or whatever they happen to be using for shelter. I'm guessing we're in the hundreds somewhere, Sue.
Yeah, this is, and I think you'll get more public support with time. It's starting to impact a lot of regular Missoula folks in a big way. When you have a staff member like I do right now that's living in a camp trailer out at Bearmouth, you start to recognize that this has become a bigger issue from when we first were, doing the homelessness plan and whatnot. So I appreciate all of your efforts.
Well, thank you. We've got a great team on the case, and most of them are on this call. Train just slipped off the tracks, which happens at my age. Wanted to, since I have an audience, wanted to mention, as I'm trying to do in every venue I can, that eviction prevention money is being sort of herded through Missoula by two agencies. One is Human Resource Council, and the other is the Missoula Food Bank. They're both working directly with Department of Commerce. This is something we only learned a couple of weeks ago. Again, communication issues are a thing. And I want to say that on about August 4th, if that's a Wednesday, we'll have representatives of Department of Commerce at the City Council's Committee of the Whole meeting. They'll be there to present on the rental assistance program and answer questions and take comments as well. So if you or a staff member has an opportunity, you can log into that meeting and get some additional information as well. What we're hearing from the state is that they are getting money out the door, but it's been pretty slow. The other thing I'm hearing is that I think they're either still getting CARES Act out the door or have wrapped that up and haven't spent much of the ARPA funds, which are significant. So there is some hope there. Other piece of business, and I'd be interested in what you all hear, is I did meet with representative property manager and the director of the Missoula Landlords Association. And again, anecdotally, they're telling me they're not seeing they're seeing fairly limited sort of rent jacking, for the lack of a better term of art, than some of what we're hearing. And this is Aaron Gingarelli, who's got thousands of units under management. And he's telling me that most of his landlords are doing sort of cost of living increases rather than kind of what the market will bear increases. And that's what he is encouraging his clients to do. Didn't have much of a report from the Landlords Association. And then Aaron also reported no unusual number of evictions as of when we talked probably 3 weeks ago. Now that's a property management company, right? And it's only one, and it's anecdotal, but I thought it was interesting as part of the broader conversation. And then the other thing we're working with them on is to try to put together try to solve for some of the problems that we're hearing from renters, ranging from having to fill out multiple applications, trying to sort of standardize that application. And then those folks are working with the Realtors Association in hopes that they could start using, that the property managers could start using the Realtors database, so we'd have a little bit more up-to-date information around vacancy, et cetera. So there are some things moving on in that arena.
Elizabeth?
First of all, sorry I'm short. It's hard to stay in the range of my camera. Couple of things on these plans. From where I sit, it seems like a nice array of different scenarios with different characteristics to meet different needs. I was only able to catch part of that presentation last week, so nice to hear the rest of the details. On the ground in housing, we are receiving funds from the state to assist folks who have debt. Human Resource Council, their role is that I have routed, for example, somebody down there where locally they are able to assist with the application, upload it to the state, and then the state sends us the money. And I think in particular for folks that might not have digital access, such as that particular resident, that can be really handy to work with somebody locally that way. And then The Landlords Association, I think that's a reference to our NARPM chapter, which is an affiliation of property managers under an umbrella of a national organization. And we are part of that organization as well. And I don't think there's an either or. And then I don't think there's a contradiction necessarily between what you heard Mayor Engen and then what we're hearing from other people. Any property manager or company that's going to be part of NARPM is making a commitment to follow a certain set of, fairly uniform codes, go to trainings, i.e., be a fairly professional landlord property manager. I am part of a couple of Missoula Facebook groups where I'm hearing, grievous personal stories from individuals of things that are happening to them. And it sounds like a fair amount of the time, folks aren't necessarily blasting out the names of their landlords. That sounds like a fair amount of time, those incidences are more among the private landlords who, might not have a business license such as we do, or a property manager license, aren't part of that professional organization. So just a few thoughts.
And I had so Aaron Gingerelli was representing sort of the local chapter of NARPM, and then did have I think they call themselves the Five Alleys Landlords Association, maybe, and they have their own, it's kind of a mom and pop Landlords Association represented as well. So had both of them. NARPM clearly has a little more dialed in information at this point.
Sue, did you have another question?
More of a comment, and I appreciate what Elizabeth said about the private landlords being a different kind of issue there. Now, I gotta say, there's that other problem of vacancy rates for availability. And when you have some of the people that we work with, our residents, wanting to stay longer with me because they can't find a decent place out there, I think that says a lot of stuff. So I, again, really appreciate the work that everybody's doing on it. I just really think we've got a long haul here, I'm afraid. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments around this topic before we move on to a round robin of current issues that are going on downtown? Okay. I'm just going to go through and make sure I just ask everyone if you have any updates from your business or your agency organization. So I'm just going to go back through the participant list again, starting with Ginny. Any updates from you?
No, not besides Operation Shelter, thanks.
Okay. Mayor Engen, anything for the good of the group on your end?
No, just a bunch of gratitude. I hope that if you're interested in these and all sorts of other issues, as our budget process unfolds over the course of the month, you'll maybe pay attention, and those things that are of interest to you, if you'd lean in and remind council members and fellow members of the community that these are investments in making our place better, we could use that support.
Thank you, Mayor. How about Sue?
Well, I don't know that I have anything more to add at this time, other than to say it's nice to see everybody, and Amy, to congratulate you on your upcoming change. You've worked hard, and I know how hard it was to work through the whole COVID thing, having a residential facility. It's been a tough year. Couple, actually. Thank you.
Amy, do you guys want to go next?
Yes, so as Sue referenced, I will be leaving the Pavarello Center on July 30th, and Joe will be taking over at that time. So we are deep in the orientation process here. So very excited about that. We continue to maintain all CDC guidelines that have not changed. So we are at reduced capacity here at the PAV. Normally would be sleeping 150 in the summer and 175 in the winter, and are only sleeping 88 people at this time. We are full every single night. We are maintaining a lottery process for a small number of individuals, hoping to get more folks in the door and connect them with resources, but it's extremely limited. So we continue to maintain those regulations until the CDC says otherwise, and hope that that changes, just because we absolutely would like to see our building back at full capacity, but at this time are not being advised to do so. So those are our only updates for now.
Thank you. How about Elizabeth? Updates from Palace Housing Authority?
I think my main update this time of year is always just that downtown gets so much busier, and it's just an interesting process. You know, they say you can attract more flies with honey than vinegar. So when I've got folks, you know, enjoying some shade by my door, I really try to engage and be polite and offer them some cold water, and then invite them a little while later on to find some shade elsewhere. Most of the time it's successful, but last week it wasn't. And I had some folks with dogs that I was really concerned anytime somebody walked by that somebody was going to get hurt. And it was just a practice of, you know, sidewalks are public. So just kind of the summer busyness.
Thank you. Emily, updates from Reaching Home.
I don't think I have a ton other than all of the Operation Shelter aspects. I think there's a lot that will play out in the coming weeks and months, and so more updates to come, and as the city budget moves through its budget process, but nothing else at this time.
You guys have a fancy new assessment you guys are rolling out today, I hear.
That is true, yes. Good reminder. Yes, we do have a new assessment. So for those who are unfamiliar, we've been using the VI SPDAT as our primary assessment for our coordinated entry system to assess partially to assess our the vulnerability of folks that we interact with, and kind of use that to help prioritize folks for resource. So the state made a change recently to a new Montana statewide coordinated entry assessment, is its fancy new name. And so we are making the official transition today to move to that assessment from the VI SPDAT. Scores from the VI SPDAT will still be they'll still count, we'll still use them for prioritization through the remainder of 2021. And then at the start of 2022, we'll just start referring to only the new city assessment score.
Some great work. And hello to Sam in the background.
Sam, I've been saying that. That's our Reaching Home coordinator, Sam Hilliard. She kind of runs our coordinator. She doesn't kind of, she runs our coordinated entries.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, you guys. And how about Judge Lerman?
No, nothing too much. I just want to express the gratitude for the folks who are working hard to find people housing. We've been talking a lot about the difficulties here, but anecdotally, I've been hearing some reports from folks who tend to appear in front of us on a kind of a frequent basis that they've been able to procure housing. And again, it's anecdotal, but I know people are working hard. And so thank you for everyone who is working on those issues. And, you know, there is some positive movement. So that's great.
Thank you. And how about Officer Gilhouse?
Thank you, Teresa. Yeah, update from the downtown designated police officer. What I'm seeing is downtown area has been very busy almost every day with people, but not in terms of calls for service and emergencies from the downtown area, and just any call for service have been way down. It's telling me that the downtown area and the events that have been happening in the downtown area, the farmers market, people's market, out to lunch, downtown tonight, the attendance has been awesome. I've really enjoyed attending those, and there have been no incidences reported at any of those. So safety has been really going very well at those types of things, which is awesome to see. The majority of emergencies and calls for services that I have been receiving have been in the area of the West Broadway corridor, amongst the same population that is experiencing homelessness by and large. A lot of those, I've really been working hard, working within the CIT model, working with Teresa, getting people in touch with different resources around the community. Working with the mobile response team has been awesome. They've been just amazing, getting people in touch with resources and helping with these people that are in crisis and managing this system or the situation, I guess, that we have, acknowledging the challenges that we've been talking about. But as a community, I feel like I've enjoyed building the relationships within the organizations to help manage the situation as it is while we're addressing the bigger issues there. So I think there's a lot of really cool things, and I'm appreciating the relationships that I've been building there. So we have 2 business improvement district officers. Myself, I've been working on the weekends, Friday through Monday. Officer Crastel has been working the weekdays, Tuesday through Friday. Unless something weird is going on, we've got 7 days coverage in the downtown area. But Randy and I will be switching. I will be working weekdays and he'll be on weekends come August. And both of us are available to anybody who has any questions that you guys may have. And did anybody have any questions for me right now? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jay. And I'm going to use this opportunity to put in my little update from the CIT program. I'm going to put a link into the chat. We're going to be launching the CIT webpage in the next week or so, and this form will also be on there. So we're hoping to start acknowledging our CIT officers that are going above and beyond to help people that are in crisis and supporting mobile support teams' efforts and just general response in the community and working as a community team for people that are experiencing a behavioral health crisis. So this is a link to enter in any nominations for officers that are CIT trained. It's okay if you don't know if they're CIT trained. I will figure that out later. If they are not CIT trained and we're getting nominations, then I'm going to seek out that officer and encourage them to attend the next CIT Academy so we can give them the official CIT Montana pin. So I'm doing kind of a soft launch on the officer recognition, but wanted to make sure this group knew about that because they are making a huge difference out there. Jay and in particular is doing an amazing job with our folks. So wanted to put that plug in there. So let's move to, let's see. How about Keithy? Do you have any updates to report out, Keithy? Or any issues downtown?
Not really downtown. I want to give the same thanks that Judge Lerman did. The type of population we regularly see struggles with homelessness, and we know it creates a reoccurring cycle. And so I've seen a couple of defendants recently that had struggled for a while and had been able to get housing. So I think that's excellent. I guess the only sort of corollary issue I want to bring up is last week I attended a strategic thinking group for the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. Sue was there. They're looking at some long-term issues with providing, looking at how we treat defendants. And I feel like it was a great meeting. I think we're going to reorganize and hopefully go in a little more strong direction. And what I'm hoping to do eventually is be able to obtain some services at the municipal court level, because we know that those people who struggle with housing also struggle with addiction or mental health, and they cycle through. And like we talked about at the committee last week, is that, if someone isn't stable in their home with a job and their addiction and mentally ill, there's, it just creates this cycle. So I feel like it's a global approach. I feel like there's so many entities that are working on this, but certainly housing and addressing, a lot of the people we see are a lot of ones that are going to be in this downtown corridor. So I love what everyone's doing, and I think we're going in a great direction. So thank you.
Thank you, Keithy. How about Linda?
Hi, I'm just back from a couple weeks off. So I'm feeling really good about things right now. I think we've had a significant jump in tourism, as a lot of people have noticed and commented. We have a lot of people who are visiting Missoula that don't have access to rental cars. So lots of folks getting questions about what is there to see and do. So our businesses are feeling good about, sort of the recovery phase, but one of the issues, and you're all aware of it, is everybody is short-staffed right now. Nobody can hire enough people to fill the jobs that they have. So we do have a number of businesses that are closing on days and at certain times because they just can't meet the demand. Even in our office, we're struggling to keep up with some of our clean programming because we've lost our weekend maintenance manager. So I have office staff taking turns doing garbage downtown. So if any of you have somebody looking for a part-time or full-time job, it does pay $15 to $17 per hour. We do need somebody that can drive a truck. There's a couple of you, I think, that maybe could help us. Maybe you have some folks looking for work. I do think those are the kinds of jobs that we can offer for that more at-risk population. But again, they have to have a driver's license and a good driving record. So garbage is overflowing, and garbage is an interesting sign of vibrancy. The more people you have, the more garbage you have. And when you don't have any garbage, it's because you don't have any people downtown. So an interesting dilemma that we have. I'm not getting complaints from business owners about homeless people. I am getting a lot of positive comments about the crisis intervention team. And remind me, was it a year ago about this time that we were sort of in our country really upset about how we treat people, and you look at what Missoula does to take care of our own, and it really is a model for others to follow. So the work that's been done to bring the crisis intervention team to the table, the work that's been done to really get people into housing. I know it's slow and drawn out, but one step at a time, you're making great progress, and people appreciate and notice what's going on. I think one of the things we're wondering about is, what's happening around the West Broadway Island Park, that has been closed for the season, I guess. And, we have fielded a couple questions about, what does the future hold? I'm not sure. And we are still struggling with a significant overload of graffiti, which we talked about at our last meeting. And, we are, as is the anti-graffiti task force, having a hard time staying on top of that as well. But businesses seem to be doing well. And we do have a lot of visitors in the area. So that's generally my update.
Thanks, Linda. And I put a note in the chat. I'm not sure if you guys have worked with Missoula Works before. And Paige is over there, and she might be a great resource to help match people to any employment opportunities. Just an idea.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Ryan Boyd at Salvation Army.
Hi. Sorry, I'm driving back from Spokane from summer camp, so I can't be on video, but we are open Monday through Thursday. We are seeing an increase of people coming to use our day services. And we are still doing bus tickets. So if somebody is homeless in Missoula, but has a place where they have steady work and a place they can live, we can bus them there. And then we also have rental assistance. So if people are struggling to pay their rent, we can help them with that. And so we are just plugging along doing those things in our hygiene center. That's a really short update. I wish I had a longer one, but that's all I got.
It's okay. Concentrate on driving. Arrive alive. Thanks, Ryan. Let's go to Officer Camara.
Hey everyone, no big updates. Probably the main one I have is I'm awaiting a call from Fishing Game today or tomorrow to hopefully get one of our graffiti artists identified. And I think he's responsible for 30% of our tagging. So if I can get him identified, hopefully that'll put a nice dent in our graffitis that keep popping up.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you for joining us on your day off as well. Did I miss anyone? Margaret, do you have any updates?
Well, I really don't, because with the pandemic, I have not spent much time in Missoula. I'm gradually spending, going to town more often. I see the added number of people downtown. I know that it's active, and I see the police every once in a while talking to people alongside the road. And so business as usual in that regard. But it sounds like everybody's busy, everybody's doing productive things, things are moving along, and let's keep going.
I echo that. Let's keep going. Did I miss anyone, or does anyone have any other questions or comments for the good of the group? Okay, well, you've got 10 minutes of transition time before your next meeting. Grab some water, grab a snack, grab some time to yourself. It's great seeing all of you guys, and we will see you on October 5th. Take care.
All right, thanks.
Teresa.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thanks, Teresa.
Bye.